Everybody, hello, welcome, and I'd like to say a warm welcome to Jenny and Alan Warner, whom I've known for many years, very good friends. And in fact, Alan, back in the day, used to be my boss, so it's nice to be sort of at the other end of things as far as this is concerned. But listen, thank you both very much for sparing some time today to talk about your experiences to date. What I'd like you to do, if you don't mind, is just to say a little bit about yourselves, and then just maybe talk about one key highlight of the lockdown so far. So over to you guys.
Hi. Right. Well, Alan and I have lived in this area for about just over 40 years. And at the moment, we're living on the outskirts of a small village called Long Marston. We have 3 children. We have 7 grandchildren. The youngest is 18 and the oldest is 25. And our oldest daughter and her family actually live in the States. So this lockdown, we've been getting views from quite a few generations.
I bet you have. Great.
Great. And yes, my highlight, I have to say, I'm totally outside of my comfort zone with IT, but having our family spread around the country and in the States as well, I've had to really get to grips with the family party, Zoom, and IT generally. But if I could just add one other highlight, I desperately wanted to find self-raising flour to start baking.
Yes.
And amazingly, on some website, Alan found me some. And so we just clicked on and it was ordered.
Yes.
And we got 12 kilos. I'm baking.
Okay, yeah, just to complete the introduction, to say that we actually had a 500-year-old farmhouse until 4 years ago, and we sold that. And on the land, we built a new house, a barn conversion, which is single story, meant to be downsizing, but in fact turned out to have more square footage than the farm we sold. I say that because it is a key factor in the lockdown. We are lucky to have space to be away from each other if we need to be.
Yeah.
And also to say that I've been in semi-retirement for 12 years, and used to working at least half-time, mainly in the mornings. So again, it's not been such a transition for me to be at home during the lockdown. So compared to many, I think we've had an easy time. My highlight is about this.
Very good.
It's a bottle of wine, and my family know that I'm addicted to one particular type of wine, a French wine called Vouvray, which is sweeter than most people like, but ideal for me. And I was in danger of running out. Tesco online and Ocado online, no bottles. And Maddie, my granddaughter, found some obscure Welsh wine merchant who somehow managed to deliver very quickly 12 bottles to me. And that was my highlight. I won't say how many bottles are now left.
I was still going to ask.
It's less than 12.
Let's not go there, Alan. But I think one thing that you've both shown so far is that it's often the little things that give you the most amount of pleasure. So your flour and your bottle of wine, I think it's the little luxuries that can keep us going through the next sort of few weeks, to be honest. But I'm delighted about it. So anyhow, great that you're both with us for the next sort of 10 minutes or so. So maybe we could just now move on to just, over the last few weeks, what have been some of the challenges that you've faced? And so what have you done to try to overcome these?
Well, one of the things for me was actually realizing that we might not be seeing our US family for the foreseeable future. We're normally over there about 3 times a year, and we usually spend 2 or 3 weeks with Helen and the family. Also, we could well be missing our grandson's wedding over there. But again, because of the technology that's available, we are keeping up to speed with everything that's happening with them, and even hearing about some of the wedding preparations that are going to be going ahead.
Great, that's lovely. Thank you, Jenny. That's you.
Yeah, in a way it's connected, because you might know, Mark, that I'm a bit of a Luddite regarding technology and training methods from my old days. And although I was one of the pioneers of online training, I always made sure I was never the one that had to do it, and preferred the telephone calls and emails. But I've had to come to terms with it. And within a few weeks, I've managed to overcome some of that resistance.
Right.
Realized that Zoom and FaceTime and Skype are a perfectly good way of communication. And I suspect the implications might be that I'll no longer be traveling to meetings. So I'm on the board of several charities, and we're all having Zoom meetings as though we've done it for years. It's remarkable how the challenge has been overcome so quickly by so many people.
Yes, I think when there's a burning platform, when you have to, it's the incentive to do so really, really quickly.
Yeah.
A really good point. Yes, okay. Jenny, over to you.
Right, yes. I think very early on, we decided we had to be aware of each other's needs. We were going to be, although we have plenty of space here, we were obviously going to be very much in each other's company. And so we've both worked hard at trying to be patient with each other. Alan certainly coping with my IT phobia, and me coping with Alan complaining about no sport and also his TV preferences. But he has also been cooking for me twice a week, which has been absolutely lovely.
Great, that's lovely, lovely.
Yeah, the challenge, a bit connected with Jenny's first one, is about communicating with our children. Because we do go to see Helen in the USA 3 times a year at least, and we see Anthony and Angie quite regularly, and that's been a real challenge. But the surprising thing has been how it's been overcome, and in some ways have improved communications. My son Anthony is a bit like me, is quite introverted and not the greatest conversationalist, and we often go to football matches with each other and then hardly speak. But it's just a nice bonding exercise. But since this has happened, we've been on FaceTime, isn't it?
Yeah.
On FaceTime, and we talk like we've never talked before, which is rather extraordinary.
I think also, like Anthony, I'm like Anthony, I'm probably more introverted than extroverted. And the beauty is that, like, I know that in about 10, 15 minutes time, I can turn this off. And not that I don't want to talk to you. I can just go and have a quiet coffee somewhere. I think it really serves my needs as well. To your point,
It's also with Angie, our daughter, who we do see often, and now we're seeing in a totally different way. She has come over, but had to stand 10 yards away, and she won't come in the house. She's outside. But we've had lovely conversations, and we've been socially distanced walks together, and communicated in a way. And she's shown very much the way she cares for us has never been really communicated before, but she's showing it by everything she's doing, for even giving up her avocado slot so we could have it. I mean, greater love has no daughter. And the other thing we've done, the challenge has been the extended family. That's my brother and my sister's children, who we've been close to, but hardly ever saw that often, you know, weddings and family parties and things. But I set up a sort of email system whereby we're all emailing each other, telling us how we're doing. And that's been very successful. And we've learned more about them in the last 3 weeks than we knew before.
Yeah.
So,
Isn't it ironic? Kind of what you're saying is that in spite of the fact that we are apart, often we're now becoming close together.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're finding ways of doing so. Ironically, when I'm having a walk in my village, is the 2 meter rule makes you focus much harder on the conversation than you would do if you were, let's say, 2 feet away.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so what any other challenges to share?
Yeah, I think this was a very important one for us, actually, because when we started talking about the virus and what was going to happen and how serious it was for a lot of people our age, we talked about how each other would react if one of us actually contracted the virus.
Okay.
And we felt it was very important that we knew how we wanted to be treated,
right?
And it actually made us focus quite quite strongly, and we drew up what's called an advanced decision document, and with the help of the children. So we have it actually written down what we would like if it did happen, and if we did contract the virus, how we would want to be treated.
Yes.
And our family are obviously aware of it too. We've given copies of the document to them, and that was very important to us.
Yes, it must give you kind of almost a peace of mind to know that things will be clear if, God forbid, sort of, you do contract it, so that just makes you feel better about the situation.
Yes, it did. It really, I mean, because of the age we are, we're very aware of the inevitability of death.
Yes, yes.
Which not many people are.
No,
I get that.
Yeah.
No, that's lovely.
My final challenge is much more trivial, but you'll identify it with it. It is the sport, the loss of sport. I would be driving up to Nottingham for 2 hours to watch the cricket, and I highlighted my spring, and I can't do it. And one of the things we've found in retirement is it's very important to make weekends different. And we still try to do that. But sport was a large part of that. Saturday afternoons are when the football results came in, Sunday afternoons are when the Premiership match was on. And that's been lost. So we tried hard to make weekends special, but still much more difficult. And I've tried to replace it by, would you believe, watching the 1959 Cup final in black and white, the whole 90 minutes.
You were in that week, Alan. That was the one you were actually in.
Well, I was there, and not playing, but I was there. And I've watched the Ashes again, 2005 Ashes, the World Cup last year, but it's not the same. Though there is some benefits, the stress of supporting Nottingham Forest is actually.
I understand that.
I can now dream of what promotion might have been, rather than knowing it wouldn't have happened.
No, that's lovely, and that's a really clear set of challenges, and also I love the way that you found ways around them. I mean, so I think that one of the key things is that we can learn how to not just survive in lockdown, but also thrive in lockdown as far as we possibly can. So, in a second, I'll just ask you to think about going forwards, what you'd be looking at as your top tips. But just if I simply summarize some of the things that I felt I've picked up here, which I think are really nice. The first thing that you mentioned, Jenny, I love this thing about being aware of each other's needs. Because, for example, my wife is more extroverted, I'm more introverted. So as long as we understand our strengths and weaknesses, we can adapt to the needs of our partners. That was a nice point. I think also the fact that you've got people I know in different parts of the world, in the States, and the fact that you can ironically become even closer because of this than further away. That was a nice thought. I think it was particularly, I hope you don't mind me saying, but for people maybe of your generation, your advanced decision document was a lovely way of creating a bit of certainty and peace of mind going forwards.
You're not so young yourself,
Yeah.
I said you're not so young yourself.
Oh, well, I just think, but when I turn 40, maybe I'll think about something similar as well, Alan. No, and I think just the final thing to say is just the fact that you're demonstrating just how much creativity that you can actually put into place just to get around what are perceived problems. So I think that was the fourth thing that I say is quite nice there. But so maybe just very quickly, just for a couple of minutes, just going forward. So all the things that you've talked about, what would be your almost top tips for survivors? So going back to your football analogy, Alan, imagine this is half time. We're thinking about where we've been so far, and we're now trying to plan for the second half. What would be your kind of one or two top tips you'd like to share with everyone?
Difficult to know until we're there, but I would have thought one of the things moving forward is going to be, ironically, avoiding traveling where you can. In other words, the implications of FaceTime means I'm sure I'll be going to less places for meetings and various things. Using FaceTime more and realizing the benefits of doing that. But also, I think when it comes to Helen, our eldest, I think we'll appreciate much more when we can, the ability to travel.
Yes.
The feeling that we're condemned here and can't see our children and grandchildren, can't possibly attend Ben's wedding, which will be a nightmare. But if we can get over that, I think we'll appreciate and be much more keen to do that. I think also probably I'll value the me time, the ability to get out, much as I love her. that driving up the M1 to watch the cricket was special, because it was, we're together 95% of the time. It was at 5%, and I think I will actually value that.
What about Jenny? What about yourself?
Well, because we are involved with a wide range of the generations, I would like to see there being much more awareness within each generation of the needs of the others. Not just as, with an older generation, the children being aware of, because they have been very much so, but I would like to see much more tolerance within the generations.
Yes.
And that would be very important for me. Yeah.
Yes. No, I think that's a really key thing, that it would be a shame, wouldn't it, if this doesn't have some kind of legacy.
Yes.
Across generations that we can all sort of tap into going forwards and learn from, really. No, listen, I think everyone, that's probably a wrap as far as we're concerned. I'd like to thank Jenny and Alan Warner very much for your time. I do hope that you keep surviving, and I'm sure you'll keep on surviving, keep on thriving in the next few weeks. So on that note, I'd like to wish you just to keep safe and keep sane, and do keep smiling. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.